Hello friends and viewers, and welcome to my Geralt character guide. If you are just here for a quick reference, I've created a pocket guide for the beginning of the video. Geralt's trait is Geralt of Rivia. His magical attack is unaffected by buffs and debuffs and always equals his physical attack. He also gains the skill Witcher Potions. Note that Geralt's magical damage scales with his magical attack, but again, his magical attack always equals his physical attack. He has increased crit, movement, as well as energy reduction at higher star level, and after using any of his Witcher's potions, he gains Regeneration 2 and Damage Reduction 2 buffs. After performing physical attacks, he will inflict physical defense down on the target, and after performing magical attacks, he will inflict magical defense down on the target. And at the start of battle, he gains 2 stacks of Quen shield. The table here displays his growth at each star level. He has notable gains at star level 3 and star level 5. As part of his trait skill, Geralt possesses Witcher Potions. This is a decision skill where you can select to use Swallow, Thunderbolt, Tawny Owl, or Maribor Forest. Geralt can have up to 2 potion effects simultaneously. Swallow, which restores HP, Thunderbolt, which increases physical attack, Tawny Owl, which restores energy, and Maribor Forest, which increases crit. Your top 2 potions will regularly be Thunderbolt and Maribor Forest. His initial skill is Quen Sign, a decision skill selecting between Quen Swiftguard or Quen Fortified. Quen Swiftguard is an instant skill that grants him 1 stack of Quen Shield. Quen Fortified is a non-instant skill that costs 3 energy and grants him 4 stacks of Quen Shield. Quen Shield is a physical shield equal to 15% of his HP, stacking up to 4 times. When broken, Quen Shield will deal 35% magical AoE damage to all enemies within 3 tiles of Geralt and knock the adjacent targets back by 1 tile. When multiple stacks are broken at once, the effects stack. At rank 1, I recommend Finisher Whirl with a Castalia for Igni Sign. Finisher Whirl is Geralt's primary energy spender for physical AoE damage, dealing a cumulative total of 150% damage. Igni Sign adds an active source of magical damage to Geralt's skill kit. Igni Rotation is an instant skill that deals minor fire AoE damage and adds additional magical damage to his physical attacks. Igni Firestream deals up to 160% total of fire AoE damage to enemies in a 3x3 area, and Geralt gains 40% attack before attacking. This also makes Geralt's primary energy spender for magical AoE damage. At rank 3, I recommend Finisher Rend with a Castalia for Ard Sign. Finisher Rend is Geralt's primary energy spender for single target damage, increasing his attack by 40%, then dealing 180% damage to all targets within 4 tiles in front of him. Ard Sign's primary function is for its knockback utility, knocking back enemies 1 tile via Ard Blast and 4 tiles with Ard Storm. Notably, after casting Ard Blast, Geralt will deal 50% increased final damage from his next attack, which he will most likely spend on either of his finishers. At rank 5, I recommend Fleet-Footed. Fleet-Footed reduces damage taken by 20% and range damage by an additional 20%. When Geralt is targeted by single target attacks, he will perform dodge once per round. He will also perform assisting cover specifically for Dimension Traveler allies when they take physical attacks. Hardening decreases active damage taken by 8%, which is lower than Fleet-Footed's mitigation. Damage Reduction 2 is also made redundant at higher star levels when Geralt gains the same buff through his trait. At rank 7, I recommend Yrden Spin Attack. Yrden Spin Attack is an instant sign skill, dealing 2 hits of AoE damage within 3 tiles of Geralt, and inflicting move, speed, and vulnerable 2 debuffs to each target hit. This ability is a quick way to debuff and crowd control enemies, and as an instant skill, Geralt can capitalize on the vulnerable 2 debuffs with his next cast. Geralt's Composure reduces damage taken by 20% and increases damage against enemies with bound debuffs. While this is a fine passive by itself, it contests with Bonds of Kaer Morhen at rank 11. At rank 9, I recommend Powerful Attack. Powerful Attack adds 10% more damage to Geralt's basic attack. Sealing Attack blocks passive skills against injured targets. Powerful Attack is recommended here for the greater damage output, as passive skill blocks can commonly be found elsewhere. At rank 11, I recommend Bonds of Kaer Morhen with a Castalia for Axii Execution. Bonds of Kaer Morhen is a unique leader's aura for Dimension Traveler allies, which include units from the Witcher 3 and Delicious in Dungeon collaborations. damage and piercing damage increased by 10%, and against enemies with bound debuffs, damage further increased by 20%. Axii Execution is an instant sign skill, debuffing a single target with stagger, blocking their passive and reaction skills, and deals 70% physical damage. This is a quick way to inflict an enemy with a bound debuff and utilize the additional increase from Bonds of Kaer Morhen. Geralt has the generic Ascension skill Valiant Vanguard and a unique Ascension skill Battle Trance. With Battle Trance, each time Geralt deals damage, he gains a stack of Battle Trance. Battle Trance is a buff that increases attack and defense by 1% up to 10 stacks. Geralt can generate 5 stacks through Finisher Rend, and at level 3, each stack of Battle Trance will additionally increase damage dealt by 2% as well. Battle Trance brings greater damage and mitigation than Valiant Vanguard. While Battle Trance can be at risk of being dispelled, Geralt can accrue and cap stacks very quickly, especially in AoE. For skill builds, this build focuses on AoE physical damage, casting Yrden Spin Attack on cooldown to inflict debuffs, and using Finisher Whirl as Geralt's core energy spender. Geralt will require external support with maintaining bound debuffs for Bonds of Kaer Morhen's increases. In scenarios where Geralt's allies may benefit more from creating burning tiles, consider substituting Yrden for Igni Sign. This build focuses on single target damage, casting Axii Execution on cooldown to inflict debuffs, and using Finisher Rend as Geralt's core energy spender. Axii Execution requires Geralt to be adjacent to his target, whereas Finisher Rend has a 4-tile range. In scenarios where the range may be more advantageous, consider substituting Axii for Ard Sign. Finally, this build focuses on dealing magical damage, maintaining Quen shields, and using Igni Sign as Geralt's core energy spender. This is not a long-term playstyle, but is still a unique quality that Geralt brings both physical and magical damage in his skill kit. In scenarios where magical damage is more valuable against physical enemies and you have few options in your roster, consider trying this out. Geralt's Astral Imprint is Witcher's Swords. Upon activating any of his sign skills, the character's attack and defense increase by 32%. As Geralt is currently the only wielder for sign skills, this weapon fits him the best. All of his sign skills are instant, so his next non-instant cast utilize the attribute bonuses. For weapon recommendations, other than the Witcher's Swords, Blade of Stratagem is a competitive option for Geralt, increasing his physical attack and active crit damage. If neither of the above are accessible options for you, you can consider Void Stab. As Geralt can cast several skills per turn between Witcher potions and sign skills, he can quickly accrue and maintain void stacks, especially at higher star levels. Otherwise, Newborn Blade is a fine option to fall back on. For trinket recommendations, Shield of Justice and Origin Hourglass's attribute increases are always reliable if you have these trinkets to spare. Given Geralt's mobility and toughness throughout his skill kit, Maverick's Cloak can be a reasonable option. Not pictured here, after unlocking his Battle Stance Ascension skill, you can consider Flying Blade Armguard or Roaring Flint as additional tools to accrue Battle Stance stacks. For tarot options, both Dream of the Magician and Verdict of Justice are fine options for Geralt's damage output, preferring Dream of the Magician for AoE and Verdict of Justice for single target. On any maps with high target count, ranging from allies, enemies, summons, and NPCs, it is always reasonable to consider Temptation of the Devil. For a general option, Course of Fortune is a versatile and hybrid choice for damage, healing, mitigation, and energy recovery. As Geralt's magical attack always equals his physical attack, the AoE shockwave from Course of Fortune has greater potential compared to other characters, and it also helps accrue battle stance stacks. For engravings, Sword and Wand remains a reliable option for the attack and defense increase after moving. For a quick overview of external category buffs, Rico's World's My Oyster offers damage and crit bonuses, scaling with number of targets hit. Miguel's World's Drifter uniquely provides more attack and defense than the typical leader's auras. Magnus's Blood and Steel reduces damage taken while healthy and grants immunity to the negative effects of injured, improving overall survivability. Aisha's Moonlit Hills aura boosts attack and defense by an additional 8%, and like Magnus, reduces damage taken while healthy as well. That concludes this character guide. If you have any feedback to share, please leave a comment below. I'm always open to listening and learning, and I don't mind being wrong. I'm another player improving and exploring more of Sword of Convallaria just like you. Remember, if you come across information that conflicts with other guides or content creators, it simply means there are multiple ways to build a character and still achieve success. I also want to credit the Sociage and Billy Game fan sites for their data mining, skill descriptions, and art assets. If you enjoyed this guide, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you in the next one.